The galaxy was vast and full of countless species. Empires rose and fell, but through all the ages, one name remained only as a whisper: humanity. To most, it was nothing more than a myth. Old records from long-forgotten archives spoke of a race from a small blue planet, a species that once walked the stars with courage and fire. But those records were broken, scattered, and unclear. Many believed humans had vanished completely, erased by time. Others thought they had destroyed themselves long ago. Among the stars, humans were a story told to young alien children, like a legend meant to spark imagination. The humans, some said, were fierce and clever. They were fragile, but their spirit was unbreakable. Yet as centuries passed, no proof was found. Ships traveled through sectors where Earth was once marked, but all they found was silence. The coordinates of the human homeworld pointed to a system burned out, its star wrapped in mystery. Humanity was lost. The Zaran Dominion, one of the largest powers of the era, dismissed the stories completely. Their historians called humans a fabrication, a tale of forgotten explorers. But in the quiet corners of the galaxy, some remembered differently. The Vayari scholars kept hidden texts that spoke of humans standing against impossible odds, defeating enemies far stronger than themselves. The Zaylon merchants spoke of artifacts, strange and powerful, rumored to be human in origin. And the Coral, a warrior species, admitted in their sacred chants that they had once been defeated by a small, determined force of humans who refused to bow. Still, there was no evidence, no ships, no colonies, no signals. It was as if humanity had been wiped clean from existence. For 1,000 years, their absence was total. But silence does not mean death. Far from the core of the galaxy, hidden in an uncharted cluster of stars, humanity endured. They had been broken once, yes. Their fleets shattered, their colonies burned. But they had survived. They had retreated into the void, carrying with them their memory, their knowledge, and their determination. In hidden worlds, they rebuilt. They forged ships in secret, trained their children in silence, and waited for the day they would rise again. Generations passed, and humans told their children the truth. The galaxy forgot us, but one day we will return. One day we will show them who we are. The humans had changed. They had learned patience from their long exile. Their technology grew beyond what most powers in the galaxy understood. They used stealth, silence, and discipline. No longer the loud explorers of the past, they became shadows among the stars. But the fire in their hearts remained. The first sign of their return came quietly. A patrol ship from the Zaran Dominion entered a lonely system, charting routes for trade. It was routine, unimportant, but the ship never returned. Scanners caught a brief signal before silence swallowed it. A shadow crossing the stars, larger than anything the Zarans had seen. At first, they thought it was pirates. Then they thought it was a natural disaster. But soon more patrols vanished. Entire outposts went silent. Rumors spread among the smaller species. The lost ones are back. The humans are returning, the Dominion laughed. To them, humans were just a story. But in hidden places, fear began to spread. What if the myths were true? What if humanity had not perished but waited? On a forgotten world, deep underground, a council of humans gathered. Leaders, commanders, and thinkers sat around a glowing table. At the center stood Admiral Kalen, his face marked by age but his eyes burning with determination. "The galaxy has forgotten us," he said. "They believe we are gone. But we are not gone. We endured. And now, the time has come." Around the table, men and women nodded. Holograms of star maps flickered, showing routes to the core. For 1,000 years, we were silent. For 1,000 years, we watched them grow fat and arrogant. Now we return. And when we return, the galaxy will remember the name of humanity. The chamber echoed with agreement. Some voices were filled with anger, others with hope. But all were united by the same truth. Their time of hiding was over. Far away among the stars, their fleets stirred. Ships that had been hidden in asteroid fields, disguised in nebulae, now came alive. Engines glowed, weapons hummed, and banners of Earth were raised once more. The galaxy was about to learn a lesson it had forgotten, because humans were lost until they returned. The news of missing ships spread faster than light. At first, the great powers of the galaxy brushed it aside. Patrol ships often vanished. Pirates, accidents, or unknown cosmic storms were common excuses. But as the disappearances grew, even the mighty Zeran Dominion could not ignore them. At a meeting in the Dominion's capital, high officials argued among themselves. "This is a rebellion," one shouted. "No, it is an external force," another replied. "Then who?" demanded the High Chancellor, his scaled face narrowing. "Name one power that dares to strike at us." Silence filled the chamber. None had an answer. Far from their grand halls, whispers grew in the trade markets and on the outer colonies. Smugglers, scavengers, and merchants told stories that all pointed to one terrifying name: humans. The word spread like wildfire. Some laughed, dismissing it as old superstition, but others spoke with fear. They were never destroyed. An old Vayari trader told a young crew. "I saw one of their ships once, many years ago. It moved without sound, like a shadow. Its guns burned brighter than a star. If the humans are back, then none of us are safe." The crew laughed nervously, but the old man's eyes were steady. While the galaxy debated, humanity moved quietly. Their fleets spread into hidden positions, mapping targets, observing defenses, learning the strengths and weaknesses of each empire. They had no need for loud declarations. Silence was their weapon. Patience was their shield. Inside the hidden command ship Resolute, Admiral Kalen stood before a massive window, watching the stars stretch endlessly. Beside him, Commander Alara, younger but equally determined, reported the latest findings. The Dominion's patrol lines are weak along the Erythian corridor. Their supply depots are poorly guarded. "We can strike and vanish before they even know what hit them." Kalen nodded slowly. "Good, but we do not reveal ourselves yet. Let them grow uncertain. Let them drown in their own fear before they even see us." Alara's lips curved into a faint smile. "The galaxy thinks we are ghosts. Perhaps we should remain ghosts a little longer." Kalen turned to face her, his expression hard but proud. "Ghosts, yes. But when the time comes, we will show them that humans are not myths. We are the storm they forgot." Meanwhile, in the Dominion's outer rim, one world suddenly went dark. It was a mining colony, producing rare minerals essential to the Dominion's warships. No signals came out. When a fleet was sent to investigate, they found only silence. The colony had not been destroyed. It had been taken. Every system, every machine, every weapon had been disabled with precision. The people were alive but terrified, whispering of human soldiers who appeared from the shadows and vanished just as quickly. The Dominion tried to hide the news, but rumors slipped through. Soon other colonies reported strange sightings, black ships that appeared without warning, then disappeared before anyone could react. The galaxy began to tremble. In the council chambers of the Vayari Republic, scholars gathered. They were not warriors, but thinkers, and they had long memories. "I told you," one said, tapping an old record. "Here, the humans were said to fight like no other species, fragile in body but relentless in spirit. If they have returned, then we must prepare." Another scholar leaned forward. "Prepare? Or should we seek them out before the Dominion does? If we can ally with them?" The chamber filled with debate. The galaxy's balance was shifting, and all because of the lost species that had been forgotten. Back aboard the Resolute, Kalen addressed his officers. "For 1,000 years we were silent. The galaxy grew arrogant in our absence. They thought us weak, destroyed, forgotten. But now they feel us. They see the shadows move. They whisper our name again." He raised his hand, and the holographic map of the galaxy lit up with points of light. Dominion fleets, Republic trade routes, coral strongholds. Our time has come, no longer lost, no longer forgotten. Humanity returns. The officers struck their fists to their chests, voices rising in unison. Humanity returns! And in the endless night of space, the stars themselves seemed to shiver. The galaxy had always been a place of shifting power, but never before had fear spread so quickly. Rumors of humans reached even the smallest colonies. On distant moons, miners whispered of black ships that moved without engines. In crowded markets, merchants swore they saw soldiers in strange armor, soldiers who vanished like mist when approached. Most still doubted. After all, how could a species lost for 1,000 years return with such strength? But doubt was slowly turning into fear, and fear was more powerful than any weapon. The Zoran Dominion grew desperate. Their fleets doubled patrols. Their governors enforced stricter laws, and their spies were sent everywhere. Still, patrols continued to disappear, depots were raided, and colonies went silent. The Dominion's High Chancellor slammed his claws against the council table. Enough! If this is the work of humans, then they will face the full strength of the Dominion. We will crush them before their name spreads further. His generals bowed, but in their hearts they were not so certain. The Dominion was powerful, yes, but it was used to fighting loud enemies, rebellions, invasions, direct wars. This enemy was different. This enemy was unseen. On the hidden human world of Haven, the people gathered in massive halls to hear their leaders speak. Humanity had lived in silence for centuries, but now, for the first time in generations, the truth was spoken openly. An elder stood before the crowd. His voice was rough but filled with strength. We were forgotten. The galaxy left us to die, but we did not die. We endured. We rebuilt. And now we return not as beggars, but as builders of our destiny. The galaxy will learn our name again. The crowd roared, their voices echoing through the underground chambers. Children who had grown up hearing only stories now saw with their own eyes the fleets rising, the banners of Earth flying once more. Pride, long buried under fear and silence, was awakening. Meanwhile, the human fleet prepared for something greater than raids. Admiral Kalen stood in the command room of the Resolute, his officers waiting. We have tested their defenses. We have shown them shadows. Now we strike openly, for the first time in 1,000 years. A hologram flickered, showing a Dominion fortress world. It was a hub of trade and power, its skies filled with warships, its surface armored with weapons. Commander Alara frowned. A bold move, Admiral. If we strike here, we reveal ourselves. The galaxy will know. Kalen's eyes hardened. Good, let them know. Let them remember the plan was set. For days, human fleets moved silently into position, hiding within asteroid fields, cloaking their signals. The galaxy did not notice, too busy chasing rumors elsewhere. When the time came, it began with silence. The fortress world of Dravalis rotated peacefully, its cities glowing beneath the stars. Then, without warning, space itself tore open. The human fleet emerged. Massive ships of black steel, engines burning blue fire, weapons glowing like suns. The Dominion defenses scrambled, alarms screaming across the planet. The first volley shook the skies. Human cannons struck with precision, tearing through defenses as if they were paper. Fighters swarmed like shadows, weaving between Dominion ships, striking with ruthless coordination. On the planet's surface, civilians looked up in terror. For the first time in their lives, they saw the legend with their own eyes. Ships that should not exist. Soldiers in armor that glowed with strange symbols. Humans. The battle was swift but brutal. Dominion fleets fought with fury, but they were unprepared. The humans fought differently. Fast, adaptive, always unpredictable. Every mistake the Dominion made was punished instantly. At the heart of the battle, the Resolute cut through enemy lines. Admiral Kalen stood tall, his voice calm. Target their command ship. The order was carried out. A blinding blast tore through space, and the Dominion flagship shattered in a storm of fire. When the smoke cleared, the fortress world of Dravalis was silent. Its defenses destroyed, its fleets broken. Floating above it, the human banners lit up the stars. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. The humans were back, not shadows, not rumors, reality. In the Coral War Council, warriors pounded their chests in respect. The humans return as warriors. Perhaps the old songs were true. In the Veeri Republic, scholars whispered with awe. If they could do this after hiding for centuries, what else are they capable of? And in the Dominion's capital, the High Chancellor's scales paled with fury. They think they can challenge us. They will regret this. But deep inside, even he felt a chill, because humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The fall of Dravalis shook the galaxy. No one had expected it. A fortress world, armed with fleets and weapons, was supposed to stand against any enemy, yet it had fallen in a single night. And the name on every tongue was the same: humans. In the markets of neutral space stations, merchants shouted the news. The humans are real. They destroyed the Dominion's strongest outpost. Fear and wonder spread among the smaller species. Some cheered in secret, glad to see the mighty Dominion wounded. Others feared what the humans would do next. For the Dominion, it was humiliation. The High Chancellor summoned his generals, his voice filled with anger. "You let a dead species strike us in our own territory. You will answer for this." One general bowed his head. "Chancellor, their tactics are unlike anything we have faced. They strike fast, vanish faster, and adapt in ways we cannot predict. Our ships are strong, but they fight as if they have studied us for centuries." The Chancellor slammed his claws on the table. "Then we will bring the full weight of the Dominion upon them. I want their fleets hunted. I want their worlds burned. If the humans have returned, they will not survive this time." But even as he spoke, doubt spread through the room. On the human side, the victory was not celebrated with arrogance, but with resolve. In the hidden fleet base orbiting Haven, the survivors of Dravalis gathered. Admiral Kalen stood before them, his presence calm but commanding. "Dravalis was only the beginning," he told them. "We showed the galaxy that humanity is not lost. But this fight is far from over. The Dominion will come with fury. We must be ready." Commander Ilara stepped forward. Her armor still bore the marks of the battle. "Our people have waited centuries for this moment. We are no longer shadows. We are warriors of Earth. The galaxy will learn our strength." The soldiers raised their fists, voices echoing, "Humanity returns!" But Kalen knew the danger ahead. The Dominion would not stop, and the galaxy, now awake to their return, would choose sides. Allies and enemies would rise. Humanity's future was no longer hidden. It was written in the stars. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, reactions varied. The Vayari Republic sent secret envoys, hoping to speak with the humans. Their scholars believed humans could be allies against the Dominion's tyranny. The Coral Warriors sang ancient battle songs, preparing themselves to meet humans once more, whether as enemies or as equals. The Zalon merchants smelled profit, whispering of trade with the humans, of weapons and technology unlike anything in the galaxy. But not everyone welcomed their return. Many feared them. Old records spoke of human determination, of their refusal to surrender, of wars that ended only when their enemies were broken. To some, the return of humans meant the return of chaos. On the Dominion capital world, fleets were already gathering. Dozens of warships, massive carriers, and dreadnoughts filled the skies. The largest fleet assembled in centuries was being prepared to crush humanity once and for all. Inside the Dominion's War Council, a spy whispered to the Chancellor, "Chancellor, the humans are not scattered rebels. They have built fleets, worlds, and armies in silence. They may be stronger than we think," the Chancellor hissed, his eyes glowing with fury. "Then we will burn their silence into ashes. We will erase them, this time forever." But even he could not escape the truth. The humans had struck fear into the galaxy. Back aboard the Resolute, Kalen stood once more at the great window, watching stars glimmer in the endless dark. Ilara joined him, her face lit by the glow of distant systems. "They will come for us," she said quietly. "Yes," Kalen answered, "and we will meet them, not as prey, not as ghosts, but as the storm they feared." Ilara smiled faintly. "The galaxy thought us lost. Now it will learn that we were only waiting." Kalen's voice was steady, filled with iron. "And when they come, we will remind them of what it means to face humanity." Beyond the window, the fleet shimmered with life. Ships rose from hidden docks, engines igniting, weapons glowing. Humanity, silent for 1,000 years, was preparing for war, and the galaxy braced itself for what came next, because humans were lost. Until they returned. The galaxy was no longer calm. Every world, every station, every council chamber spoke the same word: humans. The Dominion prepared for war. Fleets were assembled in numbers never seen before. Massive carriers stretched across the skies of their capital world. Factories burned day and night, producing weapons, armor, and ships. Propaganda filled the streets. posters showing humans as monsters, speeches declaring the Dominion's power. "They are weak," the Chancellor roared to his people. "They are nothing but a forgotten race clinging to old myths. We will wipe them out, and the galaxy will see the Dominion stand eternal." The crowd roared, but even in the thunder of voices, doubt lingered. The Dominion had never faced an enemy like this. Far away, on the human world of Haven, the people prepared as well. But their preparation was different. It was not built on arrogance, it was built on memory. They remembered the silence, the centuries of hiding, the pain of being forgotten. Now, that memory fueled their determination. In vast underground halls, engineers worked tirelessly. New weapons, forged from both old designs and secret advancements, were loaded onto ships. Pilots trained day and night, drilling maneuvers until they could fly as one. Children, once taught to stay silent, now learned to speak proudly of Earth. In the command room of the Resolute, Admiral Kalen spoke to his officers. A large hologram of the galaxy floated before them, filled with glowing markers. "The Dominion comes with fury," Kalen said. "But fury is blind. We will not meet them head-on, not yet. We will bleed them. We will strike where they are weak, vanish where they are strong, and remind them that humanity does not bow." Commander Alara nodded. "Already our scouts report movements. The Dominion fleet is vast, but it stretches thin. They cannot protect every supply line, every world, every station." A younger officer, eager but cautious, asked, "But Admiral, how long can we fight them this way?" "They are many. We are few." Kalen's eyes burned with quiet fire. "Few, perhaps. But humans have never needed numbers. One human fleet is worth 10 of theirs. We fight with mind, with spirit, with unity. And that is something the Dominion will never understand." The officers saluted, their voices rising in unison. "For Earth!" The campaign began. Human fleets struck like lightning. They did not wait for the Dominion to come. They went to the Dominion first. A supply convoy here, a communication hub there. Outposts crumbled, trade routes shattered. Dominion commanders grew desperate, sending ships in all directions, chasing shadows. Every time they thought they cornered the humans, the fleet vanished. Every time they claimed victory, another Dominion stronghold fell. In the markets of the galaxy, stories grew. "I saw them," a Zalon trader whispered. "Ships black as night, moving like they were alive. They fight like no other," a Vayari scholar added. "Every strike is precise, every move calculated. Their soldiers," a coral warrior growled with respect, "fight until their last breath. They are not like us. They are more." Fear turned to awe. Awe turned to respect. For the first time in 1,000 years, humanity was no longer a myth. It was a force, but the Dominion was far from defeated. In their capital, the High Chancellor stood before his war council, his fury rising. "They toy with us. They shame us. No more. Gather the fleets. We will crush them with one blow. We will find their world and burn it from the stars." The council bowed, but some hesitated. The humans had become more than an enemy. They had become a storm that no one could predict. Back on Haven, Kalen and Ilara prepared for what was coming. "They will find us soon," Ilara said quietly. "Yes," Kalen replied. "And when they do, we will not run. Not this time. We will stand. The galaxy will see us fight, not as shadows, but as the children of Earth." His words carried through the command room, through the ships, through the hearts of every human. They were no longer lost. They were no longer silent. And as the stars burned, both the Dominion and humanity prepared for the war that would decide the future of the galaxy, because humans were lost. Until they returned, the galaxy held its breath. For months, the humans had struck like shadows, tearing through Dominion fleets, crushing outposts, and vanishing before a response could be organized. But now everything was changing. The Dominion had grown tired of chasing ghosts. They were preparing for one final decisive strike. The High Chancellor stood in the war chamber of his capital, surrounded by towering holograms of ships and star systems. His generals lined the room, their faces grim. "The time for weakness is over," the Chancellor declared. "We will bring the humans into the light. Every fleet, every weapon, every soldier will be unleashed. We will burn their worlds one by one until not a trace remains. The Dominion had assembled the largest armada in its history. Thousands of ships, dreadnoughts the size of cities, carriers filled with soldiers, cruisers armed with weapons designed to break planets. The galaxy watched in silence. Some prayed for the humans, others for the Dominion, but all knew the war would change everything. Far from the Dominion's capital, in the hidden human command center on Haven, Admiral Kalen and Commander Ilara studied the reports. "They are moving faster than expected," Ilara said, her voice steady but tight. "Scouts report their armada has left the capital. It will reach our sector within weeks." Kalen's gaze was fixed on the glowing map. "Good, let them come. They believe we are prey. They believe we will run. They are wrong." He turned to his officers. "We will not scatter. We will not hide. For centuries we endured in silence. But now we stand as one. When the Dominion arrives, the galaxy will see humanity fight in the open once more." The officers saluted. Their voices thundered, "For Earth." Preparations began. Human fleets were recalled from the shadows, regrouping at key strongholds. Engineers worked without rest, loading new weapons onto ships. Soldiers trained in vast hangars, their voices echoing through steel corridors as they swore oaths to their ancestors. Among the people of Haven, there was no fear, only resolve. Families prepared shelters, but they also raised banners of Earth above their homes. Children painted stars and ships on the walls, telling stories of battles their ancestors once fought. Humanity was not only returning to the galaxy, it was awakening within itself. When the Dominion Armada finally entered human space, the stars seemed to shake. Thousands of ships darkened the skies, their engines glowing red, their weapons primed. It was a storm of steel and fire, a force meant to erase entire civilizations. From the bridge of the Dominion flagship, the High Chancellor hissed in triumph. "At last, the humans will fall." But when the human fleet emerged, the Dominion saw something they had not expected. It was not fear. It was not weakness. The humans came in silence, their ships vast and dark, their engines glowing blue like fire against the void. They formed ranks tighter than steel, moving as one, and at their center, the Resolute gleamed with the banners of Earth. Admiral Kalen's voice echoed across the fleet. "This is not just a battle for survival. This is the return of humanity. We fight not only for Haven, not only for Earth, but for every ancestor who refused to bow. Today, the galaxy learns our name again." Commander Ilara raised her hand over the controls. Her voice carried through the channels. "For Earth, for humanity." "Fire!" The battle began. The first clash shook the stars. Human ships surged forward with precision, their weapons tearing into the Dominion lines. Fighters weaved between massive dreadnoughts, striking weak points with perfect timing. Dominion ships fired back with fury, lighting up space with endless firepower. The void became a storm. Explosions ripped through the dark, wreckage scattered, flames burned across broken hulls. But unlike their enemies, the humans fought as if every move had been prepared for centuries. They adapted instantly, changing formation, striking where the Dominion was weakest. On the bridge of the Resolute, Kalen stood tall, his face calm but fierce. "Target their carriers. Break their strength." Ilara's hands moved swiftly, and human ships surged forward. A wave of fire tore through the Dominion carriers, explosions lighting the void, yet the Dominion's armada was vast. More ships came, more weapons fired. The humans were outnumbered, surrounded on all sides. The Chancellor sneered from his flagship. "They are strong, yes, but they are still few. Soon they will break." But Kalen's eyes held fire. "Humanity does not break." As the battle raged, the galaxy watched. From neutral worlds to distant colonies, every screen, every broadcast carried the same sight. Humans standing against the Dominion's greatest armada, and slowly, the whispers began again. They were lost, but they returned. They fight like no one else, perhaps. They cannot be stopped. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see which side would endure. Because this was no longer just a battle. It was the moment the galaxy would finally remember what humanity truly was. The stars burned with fire. The Dominion Armada and the human fleet clashed in a storm that shook the void itself. Thousands of ships filled the darkness, their weapons lighting space like 1,000 suns. Wreckage drifted in all directions, pieces of broken metal glowing as they tumbled through the endless night. From the Dominion flagship, the High Chancellor watched with narrowed eyes. His voice hissed across the command chamber. "They are strong, yes, stronger than I imagined. But their numbers will fail them. Humanity cannot stand against the might of the Dominion." Yet even as he spoke, his officers shifted uneasily. For every Dominion ship destroyed, another seemed to fall to the humans' relentless precision. The humans fought not with numbers, but with unity. Each movement was sharp, calculated. Each strike was deadly. On the bridge of the Resolute, Admiral Kalen stood tall, his eyes locked on the stars before him. Around him, officers worked swiftly, calling out positions, adjusting formations, directing fire. Commander Alara moved like fire and lightning, her commands crisp and sharp. "Left flank closing," she shouted. "Redirect destroyers," Kalen ordered calmly. "Cut them off and hold." The Dominion's dreadnoughts advanced, massive ships that could burn cities with a single volley. But human bombers dove through their defenses, striking engines, shattering weak points, forcing giants to fall. The battle raged for hours. Every explosion shook the fleets, every loss weighed heavy. The humans were outnumbered, but they never faltered. Their voices carried through the comms, strong and unbroken. "For Earth! For humanity! For the return!" But even determination had its limits. Slowly, the Dominion's endless numbers pressed harder, surrounding the human fleet. "They are closing in," Ilara warned. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with fire. Kalen nodded. "Then we break their heart. Prepare the strike." A hush fell across the Resolute. Everyone knew what he meant. The Dominion's flagship, the Chancellor's throne of power, stood at the center of the Armada. It was a ship the size of a city, armored beyond reason, armed with weapons that could turn moons into dust. To destroy it would change everything. Kalen's voice was steady. "If we take their heart, the body will fall. The galaxy will see that the Dominion can bleed." The humans moved. Ships shifted formation, drawing Dominion forces aside. Fighters swarmed like hornets, drawing attention. Cruisers cut through lines, breaking apart defenses. Slowly, a path opened toward the flagship. The Chancellor's eyes narrowed as he realized the move. "Fools!" he snarled. "They dare come for me? Increase shields! Focus all fire!" The void erupted with fury. Cannons blazed, missiles streaked, fighters clashed. Human ships were torn apart as they pushed forward, but still they advanced. They did not stop. They did not break. On the Resolute, Kalen gave the final order. "All ships, strike the heart!" Every human cannon fired. A storm of fire lit the void, hammering against the Dominion flagship. Its shields flared, cracked, and shattered. Armor broke. Flames erupted across its surface. Inside, the Chancellor roared in rage. "We are the Dominion! We do not fall!" But humanity had waited 1,000 years for this moment. With one final, blinding volley, the Dominion flagship was torn apart. It split into fire and wreckage, its burning pieces scattering across the stars. The High Chancellor's roar was swallowed by silence. For a moment, the battlefield froze. Dominion ships faltered, their coordination broken, their spirit shattered. Across the galaxy, those watching saw the impossible, the Dominion's greatest ship, destroyed by the humans. On the Resolute, silence filled the bridge. Then, slowly, voices rose. Cheers, cries, fists struck against chests. Humanity had done the impossible. But Kalen raised his hand, steadying them. His voice carried strength and warning. "This is not the end. The Dominion still lives. But today, we have shown the galaxy that humanity is no myth. We are real. We are strong. We are here." The human fleet reformed, striking the disorganized Dominion ships. One by one, they broke and fled. The Great Armada, once unstoppable, was shattered. As the last of the Dominion ships retreated, silence fell across the stars. Humanity had stood against the greatest power in the galaxy, and won. News spread faster than light. On neutral worlds, celebrations erupted. The Vayari Republic sent envoys, offering alliance. The Coral Warriors sang songs of respect, naming humans as equals in battle. The Zalon merchants prepared trade fleets, eager to profit from the rising power. The galaxy trembled. On Haven, banners of Earth were raised high. Families wept with pride, children shouted the name of humanity, and elders whispered that the long silence was finally broken. And in the command chamber of the Resolute, Kalen looked out at the stars. Ilara stood beside him, her face lit by the glow of victory. "They will come again," she said quietly. "Yes," Kalen replied. "But now the galaxy knows. We were lost. We were silent, but now humanity has returned." The stars seemed to shine brighter that night. The galaxy had changed forever. The Dominion's defeat at the Battle of Haven spread across every world and every station. For the first time in centuries, the iron grip of the Dominion had been broken. Its fleets, once thought invincible, had been shattered. And the power that broke them was not a new empire, nor an ancient alliance. It was humanity. Whispers turned into songs. Songs turned into oaths. Across distant systems, people spoke the same words. The humans have returned. On the world of Haven, celebrations filled the streets. Children ran waving banners, families cheered, and soldiers were hailed as heroes. The silence of 1,000 years was gone, replaced by voices of pride and hope. But Admiral Kalen did not celebrate. He stood in the command hall of the Resolute, watching stars glimmer through the massive viewport. Commander Ilara joined him, her face tired but filled with quiet fire. "They are calling it a miracle," she said softly. "They say we are saviors." Kalen's voice was calm. "We are not saviors. We are survivors, and survival is only the beginning." He turned toward her, his eyes sharp. "The Dominion will rise again. They have lost, but they are not destroyed. The galaxy will rally, some to us, some against us. This victory is not the end of our return. It is only the first step." Ilara nodded. "Then what is our path?" Kalen looked at the holographic map of the galaxy, stars glowing like fireflies. "Our path is clear. We no longer hide. We no longer whisper. Humanity takes its place among the stars once more." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, powers began to shift. The Vayari Republic openly declared alliance with humanity, their scholars sending envoys to study human culture, their leaders pledging fleets for mutual defense. The Coral Warriors sent emissaries, not with words but with gifts of weapons and oaths of respect, honoring humanity as true warriors of the stars. The Zalon merchants, ever opportunistic, opened trade routes with human fleets, spreading their name across markets in every sector, but not all welcomed them. The Dominion, though wounded, still held vast territories. Its new leaders swore vengeance, vowing to rebuild stronger and fiercer than before. And other empires, jealous of humanity's sudden rise, began to whisper in shadows, plotting their own moves. The galaxy was no longer stable. Humanity's return had lit a fire that could not be put out. Back on Haven, Kalen addressed his people. In the vast assembly hall, thousands stood together, soldiers, families, workers, and children. His voice carried through every corridor, every ship, every colony. For 1,000 years, the galaxy forgot us. They thought us dead, erased, broken. But we endured. We survived in silence, waiting for this day. And now, we have returned. The crowd roared, their voices thundering like a storm. Kalen raised his hand, steadying them. His voice was steady, filled with strength. "We are not conquerors. We are not tyrants, but we will never again be silent. Never again will we vanish into the dark. From this day, the galaxy will know the strength, the unity, and the spirit of humanity." The people answered as one, "Humanity returns!" Far across the stars, in the ruins of the Dominion flagship, broken metal drifted in silence. Among the wreckage, beacons flickered, carrying a message that spread across the galaxy like fire. Humanity had struck. Humanity had endured. Humanity had risen. And in the halls of other empires, leaders asked the same question. If humans could return after 1,000 years of silence, what else are they capable of? Admiral Kalen stood once more at the window of the Resolute. Ilara was at his side, watching the endless night of space. "The galaxy knows us again," she said softly. Kalen's lips curved into the faintest of smiles. Yes, but this is not just about being known. It is about shaping the future. Humanity will no longer follow the stories of others. We will write our own. The stars stretched endlessly before them, filled with both danger and promise, because humans had been lost. But they returned, and they would never be forgotten again.